So, I was reminiscing. I was going over. I know that I put up the photos before of the watercolor private collection of. I used to call it Mickey Sticker Book for my grandfather's edition, where for the Holy Roman Empire he was walking through. I have pictures, I believe. You know what? I don't know. If I say Serbians I don't know. Right. My unraveling does not at the moment front up know what the difference, and I'm not getting into it, of Serbs and Kurds. However, what I do want to make mention of is two things. One, actually I have a list of things. In Nio Cattaruzza, which I'm going to put up, my grandfather was Caesar's grandson. He had been in Yugoslavia, and it was Montenegro, M-O-N-T-E-G-R-O. Now, in America, when I woke up, the blacks, B-L-A-C-K, meaning the skin that looks like it's painted the color black. I mean, in Ethiopia, we used to say the sun-kissed people, but then that gets confusing depending on what end of the world you're at. So here's the thing. When we're talking in Illuminati territory, where everybody is white and beautiful across all of Europe, and they're called, they're from Montenegro, they look white, but the word Negro, if it doesn't translate or they catch wind of it, it might upset a few people in what is going on. Right, so I think we had to document that. That's one. We had to document at some point there was one wooden light pole for electric, E-L-E-C-T-R-I-C, which was not allowed, but we had to document it for the Council of Nicaea and the Holy Roman Papal State on behalf of Caesar's Nio, N-I-O. There also was, I don't have a date on it, and I think that was 1947. I don't know, I'll put it up. They're also same, not in Montenegro, but in a different, it has, again, my Italian is not very good. But while Antonin was touring, he met a man by the name of Bharat, B-E-R-A-T. He drew his picture, and he documented it at the bottom, and I believe it was on record in the light paper, whatever it is, to transcribe. Then, because Nio is the name I was going by, N-I-O. Actually, he and Nicholas and I both were going by Nio, or Neo and Nick, I don't know. So we closed the O for the two C's coming together. I think that's what we said. But for private family matters, and I see, let's see about this. So it was 1947. We documented in an actual photo, not a painting, because they wanted real live records of the telephone pole, the picture of my grandfather in his uniform. I think it's my grandfather. My father keeps saying it's my grandfather, and I'm like, I don't know. He looks different. Are you sure that's your dad? But well, whatever. That's the story my dad tells me. I thought my grandfather was little, like they could be brothers, but I didn't think that was him. My grandfather had more of a square jaw, but okay. So a picture with him with Angelina. He looks totally different. Okay, so then there's a picture of my grandfather reading a list off to somebody else who was scribing. Then there with the tents, because I think they were living outside in the, I don't know, what do you call the units? I mean, I don't know what they call them in Yugoslavia, and I don't know what the American army, or is it an army? I guess it's the army because it's the land forces. Again, the words, they elude me in your particulars, but I guess the unit that the men are safe in, their secure unit, the ones that they sleep in pup tents, P-U-P-T-U-N-T-E-N-T-S, I don't know. Okay, so anyway, whatever words. So we documented with photo a few of them, and I put that up. And there was also a horse-drawn carriage in the same town. And I'm pretty sure that I got yelled at by someone about they did not like the Holy Roman Empire and the Catholics being in their business about electric, because they already knew they were not allowed to have electric and that kind of outbreak of science while we were trying to fix things for the Roman Empire across many states and countrymen. It had nothing to do with the sooner we got the electric poles down and back to horse and carriage and buggies, the quicker the release of the funds to help the people that were suffering and that were fleeing whatever it was that they were fleeing. I don't know the scenario at the moment around that, and I'm not getting into that story. However, I don't want a Negro from New York thinking that they own the coined term, because they don't. There's nobody like Brendan Burns in Yugoslavia or Albania. Absolutely not. So, and that's who thinks that, well, Brendan doesn't, but the others I've heard loud and in paper form that they claim that term, which then piss off the Western Europeans, and they don't speak the same English that you idiot Americans do. Here is, let's think about this. All right, so they had to push out of that. Oh, and then there is a document of a chapel. All of the men that my grandfather was working with, I think that they called them shepherds, like, or church shepherds, to make sure that they weren't, I mean, they were already moving land. They didn't want them to get taken advantage of even more, or hurt, or, I mean, thieves. I mean, you don't know when, I mean, whatever. So I guess some people were saying that they were like gypsy caravans of people, but I don't, again, but the men from the Roman Empire and the Papal State were sent, along with others, as a chaperone, C-H-A-P-E-R-O-N-E, to look over the people, to make sure that they weren't hurt or slaughtered or killed or whatever as they made their way to wherever they belonged. So that was that. Now, with those people taken care of, and a live photo, my grandfather painted the scene of what he saw, since there was no photo allowed at the private wedding or a private chapel ceremony of the other private state matter that was going on simultaneously, and however that was working. I don't know how they documented it, but they said that they would take Antonin, being that he was the Caesar's whichever, and the Holy Bloodline, for the, there was an automobile, O-U-T-O-M-O-B-I-L-E, which was not allowed at all anywhere in that part of the world because of what was going on with auto manufacturers elsewhere. However, they did bring in two very important people who wanted to have witnesses of men that were doing a holy, pious, like good thing for the entire rest of the world, like kind of unsung heroes. So they were asked to stand in uniform and witness privately the chapel ceremony between a man and a woman. And then Antonin documented it, and he put on there AUTO, and then Nio, 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 and then Cattaruzza, Cattaruzza. Apparently, it was a private family member ceremony that he was witnessing, and the Holy Roman Catholic Church said that they would, or the embassy said that they would take Antonin, since he was Caesar's descendant, painting for that matter, because they wouldn't do a actual photo, black and white photo. But they would take the painting just as they were for the other documentation of some portions. Some at that point had switched to requirements of a real live photo, so therefore there wasn't false accusations. There was actual live documentation of the photos of the science crimes, and who was participating and who wasn't, for the I think Capinieri, or the enforcement unit. Right, and then there was also so the approval for the automobile being there, just to drive. The relative of Antonin Cattaruzza, who was the official scribe and notary in wherever that was, I have it on the thing. It shows the chapel with a silhouette of a woman, and that, which is his relative, which he was documenting for, and she arrived by automobile on special private approved Holy Roman Empire permit for one-time use. But he also documented that, so this way there was no deceit at all. It was more of a receipt of what was happening at that time. So everything was fully documented, and everybody was aware why that one-time allowance was there, because the ceremony was in the middle of the the fields, the fidelis, of where everybody was. Some people were casualties. So, and again, it wasn't on, right, I mean, that's what you had to drive through, which is why you needed a vehicle, because otherwise it would have been a very lengthy walk from the main road to where the chapel, the gazebo had been, that the men knew of. And I think that that was a big honor. They said at the time, I mean, I don't know, I was honored that they were honored, but in like today's day and age, I dare not say such things, because like they are so dishonorable in their mental cases in America. Like they don't understand anything that goes on in smart people territory elsewhere. They're in, I don't know, they just take all their clothes off and they eat Doritos and lollipops and they grow big and fat, and it's not pretty over here at all. I want to go back to like 1947 and like when I was, whatever I was, documenting things properly. Let's think. So, and so the thing is about Caesar's granddaughter or relative, the goddess, we go by the name Goddess, Goddes, as a star person, and a holy spirit that's in embodiment, that's in human form. I have a goddess Nyx, Nyx, but I also have the goddess Bharat. But in ancient Egypt, when I worked with the Giza and the Sphinx, Sphinx, to go as Goddess Nyx, but we changed the name for that directional because Goddess Nyx was being, so it's the Sphinx, Nyx from Goddess Nyx territory, wherever that is, came to the Sphinx as herself, goddess Nyx, but then gave a second goddess name of Bharat, since she looked more like Bharat in Yugoslavia, Albania territory, and not the new indigenous Egyptians. So she gave the name Bharat, B-H-E-R-A-T, being Hitler's wife. That's why there's an H in there. But the name of the man who looked like he could be a relative, distant, but whatever, that we had come from. And also, it's the territory of where my people would be technically indigenous from, although I'd be considered a Negro in the sense, at least that's what we used in Europe, in the sense of I didn't grow in the country. Like, my mother did not have me from the womb in Yugoslavia, so I did not negro from there. But my flower, my body, my birth, my goddess self, was grown in a different state. However, as part of the Roman Empire and others as umpire, you take care of multiple people, and you have multiple ways of explaining one concept to multiple times and multiple situations. And you usually like to keep your book of names because that's what the locals know you as, and you usually build a good reputation with the locals as long as you do the right thing. It's the stories that generations later we found out, some of the rumors. Usually we leave with good, and then we travel back if we find out that there was upset for some reason, to clarify, so we don't leave a bad taste in your mouth of what we actually are and what we actually do and our purpose here on the Fidelis, which is why I am really confused how between 1947, when there was a horse and carriage in Yugoslavia and Albania documented, only one light pole, which is why we were sent to that particular town, to document how we went from that to me waking up and there's automobiles everywhere in America. I mean, you want to talk about a people that didn't listen to a thing that Caesar said and that God said throughout all of the time to ensure that the Nio Cattaruzza didn't have a problem when she had a new embodiment in wherever and however that was going to work, from full adult to baby, and then back to full adult again, and then whatever. And these are like the details that we normally don't have to explain to those outside of the inner sanctum. When I have to walk through a metal detector for work, and it's a biogenetic metal detector, there's a big difference from passing a screening of something of non-importance to get through from here to there. Those are the small science projects that we didn't want to let out either. But you keep pushing this science envelope and you're endangering your ability to stay alive and safe and keep your family safe. For reasons that we know, we've been trying to warn, but then you punish us as if we don't want to give you things because you can't handle them. No, we know you can handle them. We're afraid of who's going to steal them and then use them against you. So that is what 1940s was all about. Was not it was more to alarm you on keeping a soft, slow pace and not allowing the expansion that some of the other evil in the world was promoting and pushing for reasons that you in local areas could not understand. And it was not for the reasons you think it was. It was because we knew outside, for gods that fly and gods that are able to go on fast horses that might not have legs, like fast carts, you know, which again was hard to explain because they're like, right, I'm not lying. It's just, it's a God business, And I don't want the words making too many sense for you, because I don't want somebody else to steal from you in the future. That's the way that we explained it. Why we were not giving advancements to anything outside of the Negro being, the Montenegro, the people that were like myself, in Illuminati territory that the Holy Roman Empire had to take care of, not whatever was promoted between the 1940s and 2020 as Negroes in America, and then confusing Europe and making war of words back and forth and making it incredibly difficult for us to stand up with one another, and allowing the evil to advance that much further and stealing the science that we were trying to protect. But the habanero tempers made it difficult without the woman and man that, the face that everybody came to know. If we visited, they were okay, but the breakout was so rapid and so fast. If you look at the forensic file on the way in that we documented on our level of equipment, along with the natural fauna flora version of documentation. So again, I'm going to put that back up, but I do have the chapel wedding of he and I, plus the permitted room. But again, where do I take this stuff? How do I get to him? I just want him. I don't really give a shit about Frio. I really didn't care about Romer. I don't really want to tell my stories to anybody. I don't feel I have to. I just want Niklaus or Eric or Mark or whatever name we're going by on this version of us. And I don't really care what others think. Never did, never will. I am who I am, and my importance speaks for itself. I don't need to upshow someone, and I don't have to impress anybody. I just am. So, and I have needs of one man. I don't need whatever you isolate me with in the American version of Negro, slave, as opposed to the good Holy Roman Empire Negro of wasn't born there, but the people looked like they could be my relatives. They're important. Do you understand? D'accord. I don't speak Albanian, Slavic. I wish I did. I just, when they unraveled I say blueprint, but it's actually a it's more of a translucent, and then it is a black, I call it cancer stain. It looks more like an X-ray. When you do the X-ray vision, they unraveled the linguistics and the ability of my human when I was reborn to this density of I fucking hate humans, in order to complicate the situation even further. But that, again, on our level of passing through biogenetic metal detector, in order to get to certain places of importance. So I really want to use the jelly wall and just read diorama and move back to where we belong. This is not mine. This is not, I'm not condoning this, and I'm not giving credence to this at all.